This is the place of Nithyananda. When I come into this room, it echoes a bit and it gives a good sound. So the one song that I love singing in this that echoes is Nithyanandam, Brahmanandam. Nithyanandam Brahmanandam Nithyanandam Brahmanandam Brahmaswarupam Neelavaranam Trilokanatham Shri Gurudevam Om Namo Nithyanandam Om Namo Nithyanandam Nithyanandam Brahmanandam Nithyanandam Brahmanandam. I don't know who wrote this song, it's so beautiful. Brahma Swarupam says he is the Swarupa of Brahma, Brahma Parabrahma, he is God himself, that's why we call him Bhagwan Nithyananda. He is of that stature, someone who took a human embodiment. So he is called Brahma Swarupam. Neelavaranam, the black colored, the dark colored, Neelavaranam. Trilokanatham, the Nath of the three loks, of the three lokas, three dimensions. The king, the emperor of the three lokas. Sri Gurudevam. This was composed by his disciples or his devotees who revere him as Guru, as the master. So they say Sri Gurudevam. And then they say Om Namo. Om Namo is bowing, saluting to Om Namo. Nithyanandam, bowing to that Nithyanandam, not Nithyananda, bowing to Nithyananda, bowing to the Nithyanandam, the bliss that emanates from that Nithyananda. Om Namo Nithyanandam. This is what it means, and I don't know who wrote this, but it's so beautiful. The tune also is so beautiful. So I often end up singing this whenever I enter, because you enter, you connect with him, and it's like Nithyanandam. You feel that Nithyanandam. So this blissful song sprouts out. He was named as Nithyananda. His original name was Ram as a boy, and his foster father who just adopted him because he was found in the jungles and nobody knows how did he appear in that jungle. On one rainy night, it was picked up by a lady called Unniyamma, who was the housemaid of this person. This person called Ishwarayar, who was the advocate in those times, and she brings the child there, and she passes away. Then Sri Ishwarayar brings up this child. It's not his own child, and this child who is growing up as Ram, starts exhibiting all these mystical qualities and all that. And once he goes with his father to the north, to Kashi and all those places, he visits the holy places with his father, and then while returning back he refuses to come. The young Ram, he says, I have got to go further, you go ahead. His father is devastated and he comes back home alone, but he is very attached to his son, and his son is a sannyasi, a yogi, born yogi. He is in that stature, so he leaves and moves towards Himalayas. Then he is not seen, but he promises his father that he will come one day, whenever the time is right. for many years he's not seen. And when Ishwara here is almost on his deathbed and remembering his son, many years later, he fondly remembers his son, and suddenly the door opens and here comes Ram, his son. He comes back and his father is dying, and so he wants one wish to be fulfilled. Since he is a believer and worshipper of the sun god Surya Narayan, he says, I want to have his darshan once, his vision once, the god of sun. And Ram gives him that vision there, and that is the time his father is astonished. At the same time, in blissful state, he enters into a blissful state before dying, and then he blesses his son and says, you have given me Nithyananda, you have brought me that Ananda. That Nitya means eternal, Ananda means bliss. That eternal bliss you gave it to me. You are no more Ram, you are my Nithyananda. You will be known as Nithyananda from now. That is how he got his name, Nithyananda. So the name itself means eternal bliss. Brahmaswarupam Neelavaranam Trilokyanatham Shri Gurudevam Om Namo Nithyanandam Om Namo Nithyanandam. I'm standing at the window here. There's a railway track there, and it's just next to the railway track, this ashram. So Bhagwan Nithyananda used to roam around in this place. He loved trains. He loved trains like anything. He used to always be in the trains, almost always. So that is why probably he came something close to this railway track. And I heard, I'm so happy to hear this news that the bogie which Bhagwan Nithyananda had stopped, miraculously, he didn't stop it, but the nature did it, because once he was on the train, and suddenly what happened was they asked him to alight down. The ticket controller who came, ticket checker, he came and he asked for ticket, and he obviously did not have a ticket because he is moving in a loincloth. And so he was asked to get off from the train, and the moment he got off from the train, he went and stood near a post, electric post, and the train refused to move. So all were astonished. They did everything. All the mechanics came. Everybody tried their best to move the train, but the train would not budge. An engine, the engine is on, but it's not moving. Then somebody said, you have insulted a great noble one when he didn't do anything. You have, literally bullied him, because the ticket checker had abused him and asked him to get out. So he was pointed out, look there. And they had no other option, but they tried, maybe, possibly, this is a possibility. And it was during the Britishers' days. So people ran to him and they begged him pleaded him to come back. And he it's nothing. They asked him to get out, he got out. They asked him to come in, he came in. As simple as that. And he walked into the train. The moment he entered the train moved. So the government had protected that one bogie of that train, and that was kept in some place in Kurla somewhere, I believe. And I always wanted to see it and where and all that. I had only heard about it. I thought it's stories. But now I got to know that the government has gifted it to Ganeshpuri. So I think they are moving it somewhere to Ganeshpuri or something. I've seen a photograph. I don't know. But there are photographs coming on this. Anyways, whenever I go there, I'll try to look at that bogie, that old bogie which is there. But I think it's in a good condition. That's something phenomenal and historical. But people do not know much about all these things, because they fancy all these things as, superstition. It's not superstition. Somebody the other day told me, science won't understand all these things. I said, it's not about science understanding these things. It is science itself. All these things are very, 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 very scientific. Everything is scientific. All these phenomenal feats that the great ones always do are all very scientific, and they have good reasoning. They have good evidences, but only thing, we do not have the capacity, or we do not have that instrument or that technology to monitor it. That's the only thing. If they can monitor things, even in the subtle world, it is not astonishing. They will find that it is all done through science, even including them vanishing. He is still known to even manifest to people. Many people have evidences that he manifested many times in flesh and body. So that means that they can disintegrate, and science knows this. Spiritual science knows this, that the great ones who have purified to that level, they can disintegrate their body and reintegrate it back again. It's all about, now it's not magic, it's all about changing the atomic configuration. They know the science of atomic configuration. So this is physics, chemistry, whatever we call it. Most advanced scientists these are. Only thing, they don't have degrees and they cannot read and write the language of science that we speak. But all that they do is through that, only through their sankalp power. That's more than enough. So that gives us an evidence of what human can do if they are purified. The sankalp shakti can do. Sankalp is the volition, the will, the thought and emotions and power, the feelings, the power it has got. So these are evidences, these are our great masters, these are our role models, whom we look at and we live today. Our spirituality is based on, they are living, they are our role models. So I think it's time we bring out this in a more scientific way than just blind worship. People call it blind worship. That is what the reason I was telling. You must have enough knowledge and wisdom of these things. Like I saw a photo in this ashram, Ardhanareshwara, there is half Shiva and half Parvati, half male and half female. It's Ardhanareshwari. I've seen people mock this image. What is this, half girl and half this and all, what funny gods Hindus have. It may look funny, but why is it a laughing matter possible? Because we do not have an explanation. We cannot explain it. We just say, oh, it's our God. It's our God. It becomes more funnier when you say it. But if you can evidently, properly explain the science of that, then it's just a symbolic representation of that male and masculine and feminine aspects. But for that, we have to go deeper, more subtle than just the gross and then just remain with only the images. We got to understand, and this is there in our Vedas, in our Upanishads, and if you watch carefully, if you go deeply, if you go into Advaita philosophy, you get into it, you will get to know what are these. So you must have an understanding of that, so that if anybody asks, you must have the evidence, you must have the capacity to tell what is this about. It's not what you're thinking, it is this way. And when you tell, I have had this personal experiences. I have talked to a scientist who 40 years he said in the Atomic Research Center he has spent, even with Mr. Abdul Kalam. And we were talking for 5-6 hours in my last journey, and he said, I don't believe these things, He was a scientist and atomic scientist. But when I explained to him all this, he fell in love with the subject and he was just listening. He got engaged in it. And he was more curious. And by the end of the session, the talk, he said, oh my God, 40 years I was thinking something else. So it is all about how we know. First we got to understand this. Then we got to, even we are talking about Bhagwan Nithyananda, this is not blind faith. Somebody tells me, oh, you're going there and worshipping a human and what is this, what faith you have, what miracles have happened. It's not just about miracles, it's about your experience. My life has changed after Nithyananda walked into my life. I was ignorant before that. And how he has walked into my life means how? He cannot walk physically. Subtly only all those things have happened, which gave me a physical evidence. Things happened physically in my life, which had a connection to the subtle experiences, and that physical and subtle mixture gave me the evidence of what is happening. And that is all my life journey about, and that is what I speak, that is what I write, that is what I talk, my videos, everything I'm trying to make, so that people get more understanding, deeper, into not just superficial things. We should go deeper into this. Okay, I take your leave now. It's my train timing, so catch you up soon again. Stay blessed. Much divine love and light to all of you. Gurudev Sharanam, Guru Mandal Sharanam.